The Nevada sun blazes over the sprawling military base, its runways shimmering in the heat, alive with the roar of MQ-9 Reaper drones slicing through the sky. Inside the control tower, the air hums with tension. Screens flicker with data streams, and engineers bark coordinates into headsets. Amid this chaos, Aisha Coleman, a 28-year-old black woman in crisp Air Force fatigues, steps into the electronic warfare unit. Her presence draws sharp glances. She's one of the few women here, and the only black woman in the room. Whispers trail her like shadows. Quota higher. She doesn't belong. Aisha's face remains impassive, but her fingers brush the small eagle tattoo on her left wrist, etched with the words, "Soar Above." It's her anchor, a reminder of her father's voice, now silenced forever. The control room falls silent as Aisha steps up to the MQ-9 Reaper's command console, its screens glowing with the drone's live feed, a predator circling 10,000 feet above the desert. Colonel Hargrove, a grizzled officer with eyes like steel, looms over her. "Coleman," he says, his voice cold as the metal panel, "this test determines your future here. Fail, and don't say I didn't warn you." The camera zooms in on Aisha's face, resolute, unyielding, then pans to her tattoo, glinting faintly under the fluorescent lights. Her eyes lock onto the console, but a flicker of doubt crosses them. Can she do this? The screen flashes, target lock failure. System override detected. A murmur ripples through the room. Something's wrong. Aisha's hand hovers over the controls, steady but tense, as a single question hangs in the air. Who is she, really? The other soldiers, mostly men, their gear emblazoned with badges of rank and experience, exchange smirks. Lieutenant Blake, a wiry pilot with a permanent sneer, leans toward his buddy. "She's here to check a box, not fly a Reaper," he mutters, loud enough for Aisha to hear. She doesn't flinch, but her jaw tightens. She's used to this, used to the doubts, the sidelong glances, the assumption she's less than. But beneath her calm exterior, a wound festers. Her father, Captain Marcus Coleman, died 3 years ago in a plane crash, blamed on a system failure. A failure Aisha believes she could have fixed, if only she'd been given the chance. Now, every line of code she writes, every drone she commands, is a step toward proving she's more than their stereotypes. Aisha adjusts her headset, her fingers moving with practiced precision. The MQ-9 Reaper, a $20 million war machine capable of carrying Hellfire missiles, is her domain, but not everyone sees it that way. Blake's voice cuts through again. Hope she's ready to crash and burn. Aisha's hand pauses, brushing her tattoo. Soar above. Her father's words echo in her mind. He taught her to code, to fight, to rise above the noise. But as the console beeps ominously, warning of an unknown error, Aisha wonders if she's ready for what's coming. The test is about to begin, and with it a chance to silence the doubters or confirm their worst assumptions. As Aisha prepares to engage the Reaper's controls, an alarm blares. System breach detected. Drone unresponsive. The room freezes. Hargrove's eyes narrow. "Coleman, you're up. Don't screw this up." The stakes are clear. Lives are on the line, and Aisha's future hangs in the balance. The control room's hum turns to chaos as the alarm screeches, a piercing wail that cuts through the Nevada heat. Red lights flash across the MQ-9 Reaper's console, the screen screaming, "System breach detected." Drone unresponsive. Aisha Coleman freezes, her fingers still grazing the eagle tattoo on her wrist. The Reaper, a $20 million war machine with Hellfire missiles that can level a city block, is no longer hers to command. It's veering off course, its GPS pinging a trajectory toward a small town 30 miles away, home to 2,000 civilians. The room erupts and shouts. "Lock it down," an engineer yells. "Get a pilot in here." Colonel Hargrove's voice booms over the din. "Coleman, you're on this. Neutralize that drone, now." His tone carries no confidence, only necessity. Aisha's heart pounds, but her face stays steady, masking the storm inside. She slides into the command chair, the console's glow reflecting in her eyes. The MQ-9 Reaper, capable of flying 300 miles an hour and striking with surgical precision, is a beast she's trained to tame. But now, its AI has been hijacked, its code scrambled by an unknown intruder. Aisha's fingers dance across the keyboard, pulling up diagnostic logs. She spots the issue, a malicious override in the satellite uplink, cutting her control. She'll need to hack back into the system, rewrite the code in real time, and land the drone before it reaches the town. It's a task most pilots would balk at, but for Aisha, it's more than a mission. It's a chance to prove she's no quota hire. Lieutenant Blake's voice slices through her focus. Her? Really? He scoffs loud enough for the room to hear. A Reaper under this pressure? She'll crash it before we get a real pilot in. Aisha's jaw clenches, but she doesn't look up. The whispers grow. She's not ready. Why risk it on her? Hargrove's silence is louder than their words, his eyes fixed on Aisha, waiting for a mistake. She feels the weight of their doubt, the same weight she's carried since her father's crash 3 years ago. Captain Marcus Coleman, a pilot who flew F-16s with unmatched skill, died when a system glitch sent his jet spiraling. The official report called it human error, but Aisha knew better. She'd studied his flight logs, traced the code, found the flaw no one else saw. If they'd listened to her then, he might still be alive. Her fingers hover over the console, the Reaper's live feed showing it banking dangerously close to civilian airspace. Soar Above, she hears her father's voice, steady as ever. He'd taught her to code under pressure, to find solutions when others saw only failure. Aisha types the first line of code, her mind racing to bypass the hack. The clock ticks. 9 minutes until the drone hits the town. Blake leans closer, his breath hot with skepticism. Don't choke, Coleman. Aisha's eyes narrow, her tattoo a quiet pulse under her sleeve. This isn't just about saving lives, it's about silencing the voices that say she'll never be enough. The control room's red lights pulse like a heartbeat, each blip on the MQ-9 Reaper's console a countdown to disaster. Aisha Coleman's fingers hover over the keyboard. The drone's live feed showing it slicing through the Nevada sky, 8 minutes from a civilian town. Her pulse races, but not from the code. She's cracked tougher systems before. It's the weight of eyes on her back, the whispers that sting worse than the desert heat. She's not ready, a voice mutters. Never was. Aisha's gaze drops to her wrist, where the eagle tattoo whispers soar above. But right now, soaring feels impossible. Lieutenant Blake steps closer, his voice sharp as a blade. One mistake, Coleman, and you'll kill civilians. You sure you're up for this? His words hit like a punch, echoing the doubts Aisha's carried since her father's crash. Captain Marcus Coleman, the pilot who taught her to code, to fight, to dream, died because a glitch went unnoticed. The Air Force called it his fault, but Aisha's late-night dives into his flight logs told a different story. A system failure no one bothered to investigate because he was just another pilot. Now with the Reaper's hack threatening lives, Aisha feels the same dismissal in Blake's sneer, in Colonel Hargrove's cold stare. If she fails, she'll prove them right, a black woman who doesn't belong. Her hand trembles, brushing the folded letter in her pocket. Her father's last words, written before his final flight. Soar above, Aisha. No matter what they say, you're enough. She wants to believe it, but the console's warning, system override active, feels like a ghost of her father's crash. What if she misses something? What if she's not enough? The thought of withdrawing creeps in, tempting her to step back, let Blake or another real pilot take over. She could walk away, avoid the blame, let their biases win. The room's murmurs grow louder. She's choking already. Blake's smirk widens, sensing her hesitation. Aisha's fingers graze the letter again, its edges worn from years of carrying it. She sees her father's face, his steady voice guiding her through lines of code in their cramped garage. Every problem has a solution, he'd said. Find it. The Reaper's feed flickers, the town's lights now visible on the horizon. Aisha's breath steadies. She can't run. Not from this, not from them, not from herself. Her eyes harden, locking onto the console. Soar above. It's time to fight. The control room's alarms scream, a relentless pulse counting down to catastrophe. 7 minutes remain before the hacked MQ-9 Reaper drone reaches the civilian town, its Hellfire missiles primed to strike. Aisha Coleman's fingers tremble over the console, the weight of Lieutenant Blake's words. One mistake and you'll kill civilians, still burning in her ears. Her eyes flicker to the eagle tattoo on her wrist. Soar above etched in her father's handwriting, but doubt claws at her resolve. She's ready to step back, let someone else take the controls, when a steady hand grips her shoulder. Major Elena Ruiz, a veteran with sharp eyes and a scar tracing her jaw, stands beside her. Don't let their eyes cloud your vision, Coleman, Elena says, her voice low but firm, cutting through the chaos. I've been where you are. They'll always doubt you until you prove them wrong. Elena's words hit like a spark. Aisha knows her story, a Latina soldier who fought her way through the same sneers and skepticism in this male-dominated base, earning her rank with grit and precision. I was called a token too, Elena continues, her gaze locked on Aisha. But I didn't let their whispers define me. You can't either. Aisha's mind flashes to a memory. Her father, Captain Marcus Coleman, in their dimly lit garage, his hands guiding hers over an old computer. Every problem has a solution, Aisha, he'd said, his voice calm as they debugged a stubborn line of code. Be patient, and you'll find it. She was 16, her fingers clumsy but eager, soaking in his lessons on programming and resilience. That night, he'd smiled, proud, and said, "You'll soar above them all." Now, with the Reaper's console flashing system override active, that memory feels like a lifeline. Aisha clutches the worn letter in her pocket, her father's last words urging her forward. Elena leans closer, her voice a quiet anchor. You've got the skills, Coleman. That drone's a beast, 300 miles an hour, coded to kill, but you're smarter than it. Show them. The room's murmurs fade. Blake's smirk a distant blur. Aisha's fingers steady on the keyboard, her father's voice echoing with Elena's. Find the solution. Soar above. The clock ticks, 6 minutes left. Aisha takes a breath, her eyes locking onto the Reaper's feed, the town's lights growing closer. She's not running anymore. This is her moment, her fight, her chance to rewrite the story they've told about her. The Nevada control room crackles with tension, the air thick with the screech of alarms and the hum of screens tracking the rogue MQ-9 Reaper drone. 6 minutes remain before it reaches the civilian town, its Hellfire missiles a heartbeat away from catastrophe. Aisha Coleman slides into the command chair, the console's glow casting shadows across her face. Her eagle tattoo, etched with Soar Above, pulses under her sleeve like a quiet vow. She's crossed a line now, no turning back. The Reaper's interface stares her down, a maze of codes, satellite feeds, and encrypted protocols. It's a $20 million war machine, designed to strike with surgical precision at 300 miles an hour, but now it's a traitor, hijacked by an unseen hand. Aisha's fingers fly across the keyboard, her mind racing to crack the AI's override. She's not just fighting a machine, she's fighting every whisper that says she doesn't belong. Lieutenant Blake hovers nearby, his voice dripping with doubt. You're out of your depth, Coleman. That drone's a killer, and you're no pilot. His words sting, echoing the sneers she's heard since day one. Quota higher. Token. Not good enough. Colonel Hargrove stands at the back, arms crossed, his silence louder than Blake's taunts. The room's monitors broadcast the Reaper's feed to a dozen engineers and officers, their eyes boring into Aisha's back. She blocks them out, focusing on the console's data stream. The hack has scrambled the satellite uplink, locking her out of the AES-256 encryption, a military-grade fortress of code. She'll need to bypass it, rewrite the Reaper's commands in real time, and force a landing. One wrong move, and the town's 2,000 souls are gone. Aisha's mind flashes to her father, Captain Marcus Coleman, in their garage years ago. She was 16, hunched over a clunky computer, his steady hands guiding hers. Code's like a battlefield, he'd said, his voice warm but firm. Find the weak point, and you win. They debugged a program together, line by line, until it worked perfectly. Now, with the Reaper's AI fighting her every keystroke, that lesson feels like a lifeline. She spots a flaw in the hack, a backdoor in the satellite protocol, a sliver of hope. Her fingers move faster, typing commands to isolate the missile controls. The screen flashes, Hellfire arming sequence active. Her heart stops. The drone's missiles are seconds from launch. Coleman, you're losing it. Blake snaps, leaning over her shoulder. Step aside before you kill someone. Aisha's jaw tightens, her father's voice cutting through the noise. Soar above, Aisha. You're enough. She slams a key, sending a bypass command through the back door. The console beeps, Hellfire sequence deactivated. The room goes silent, the missile threat neutralized, with 2 seconds to spare. Aisha exhales, her hands steady but slick with sweat. The engineers exchange stunned glances, but Hargrove's face remains unreadable. Blake scoffs, muttering, "Beginner's luck." Aisha ignores him, her eyes locked on the screen. The victory is fleeting. The Reaper's AI is still erratic, its flight path veering closer to the town. She dives back into the code, tracing the hack's origin. The encryption is layered, designed to resist intrusion, but Aisha's trained for this. Her father taught her to see patterns where others saw chaos. She recalls late nights studying his flight logs after his crash, piecing together a system failure no one else noticed. The Reaper's hack feels eerily familiar, a deliberate sabotage, not a random glitch. Her fingers pause, the thought chilling her. Could this be connected to her father's death? The console blips again. AI override strengthened. The drone accelerates, 5 minutes from impact. Aisha's pulse spikes, but Elena Ruiz's words echo. Prove them wrong. She glances at her tattoo, its ink a quiet fire under her skin. The room's tension thickens, monitors showing the Reaper's shadow looming over the desert. Aisha types a new command, rerouting the satellite signal to regain partial control. The drone wobbles, responding for a moment before the AI fights back. Hargrove steps forward, his voice sharp. Coleman, you've got 4 minutes. Land it, or we pull you. Aisha nods, her focus unbreakable. Blake's sneer, the room's doubts, the ghost of her father's crash, they're all there, pressing in. But so is her father's letter in her pocket, its words a steady drumbeat. Find the solution. She's in the fight now, no longer the rookie they mock. The Reaper's hers to tame, or die trying. The Nevada control room pulses with the relentless wail of alarms, each second ticking closer to disaster. The MQ-9 Reaper drone, a $20 million predator armed with Hellfire missiles, streaks toward a civilian town, its AI hijacked by an unseen force. Aisha Coleman's fingers blaze across the console, her eagle tattoo Soar Above, a faint pulse under her sleeve. She's wrested partial control, disarming a missile with seconds to spare. But the Reaper's AI fights back, its flight path erratic, 4 minutes from impact. The screens show the desert blurring beneath the drone's wings, the town's lights now a faint glow on the horizon. Aisha's heart hammers, but her focus is razor sharp, her father's voice echoing. Find the solution. She's in the fight now, no longer the rookie they mock, but the weight of their eyes, Colonel Hargrove's cold stare, Lieutenant Blake's sneer, presses harder than ever. A sudden alert flashes, sandstorm detected. Visibility critical. The Reaper's feed shows a wall of swirling dust, winds gusting at 40 miles an hour, threatening to blind its sensors. Aisha's mind races. She needs to calculate wind drift and adjust the drone's trajectory in real time. Her fingers fly, inputting commands to stabilize the satellite uplink, the AES-256 encryption still a tangled fortress. She recalibrates the Reaper's altitude, her calculations precise. 10,000 feet, 3-degree correction for crosswinds. The drone steadies, cutting through the storm like a blade. The control room exhales, a rare moment of silence, but Blake breaks it, his voice sharp. Lucky guess, Coleman, he says, loud enough for Hargrove to hear. You think you can play pilot in a storm like that? Aisha's jaw tightens, but she doesn't respond. She's too deep in the code, her father's lessons anchoring her. See the patterns, not the noise. Major Elena Ruiz, standing near the monitors, catches Aisha's eye. You've got this, she mouths, slipping Aisha a data tablet with updated wind models. Elena's been in her shoes, doubted, dismissed, a Latina woman who clawed her way to respect. Her quiet nod is a lifeline, steadying Aisha as she pushes forward. The Reaper clears the sandstorm, its feed stabilizing, but the AI's override kicks in again, harder this time. The screen screams, attack mode engaged. The drone's targeting system locks onto a mock structure in the test zone, a simulation of civilian buildings. Aisha has 90 seconds to rewrite the AI's command loop before it fires a Hellfire missile. Her fingers blur, coding a bypass to disable the targeting protocol. Sweat beads on her forehead, the room's murmurs a distant hum. Blake leans in, his voice venomous. You're gonna choke, Coleman. Step aside. Aisha's eyes flicker to her tattoo. Her father's voice cutting through. Every problem has a solution. With 3 seconds left, she hits enter. The screen flashes, targeting disengaged. The missile stays dormant. The room falls silent again, but Hargrove's voice cuts through, cold and clipped. I want a full review of that code, Coleman. No shortcuts. His distrust stings, but Aisha nods, her focus unbroken. Elena slips her another tablet, this one with AI diagnostic logs. You're faster than their doubts, she whispers. Her scar catching the light. Aisha's lips twitch, a fleeting smile. She's not alone anymore. Hassi Jamal, a young black soldier who's watched her from the sidelines, steps closer, his eyes wide with awe. That was insane, ma'am, he says softly, his voice a rare note of belief in a room full of skeptics. Aisha nods, grateful, but the Reaper's feed pulls her back. The town's lights are closer now, 3 minutes away. The AI's hack is evolving, its code shifting like a living thing. Aisha traces the patterns, her father's lessons guiding her. She remembers late nights in their garage, his hands steadying hers as they debugged code. "You're smarter than the machine," he'd said. Now she sees it, a hidden signature in the hack, a trace that feels too familiar, too deliberate. It's the same pattern she found in her father's crash logs, the glitch no one believed. Her breath catches. This isn't random. Someone wanted this drone to fail. The final test looms. A simulated battlefield, the Reaper tasked with hitting mock targets at 15,000 feet. Aisha adjusts the drone's sensors, achieving 95% accuracy, surpassing every standard. The control room murmurs approval, Jamal grinning, Elena nodding proudly. But a sudden glitch spikes the system. Navigation error. The Reaper veers off course, missing a target by inches. Blake pounces, his voice booming. "Told you she'd screw it up." Hargrove's eyes narrow, and he orders a reprimand. "Sloppy work, Coleman." Aisha's stomach twists. She knows her code was perfect. She scans the logs, her fingers trembling, and finds it. A deliberate sabotage, a line of code inserted to disrupt her commands. Her eyes meet Blake's, his smirk betraying him. He did this. Elena catches the exchange, her jaw tightening, but she signals Aisha to stay calm. "Not now," she whispers. "Beat them at their own game." Aisha's hand brushes the letter in her pocket, her father's words a steady pulse. Soar above. The Reaper's feed shows the town's edge now, 2 minutes from disaster. She's faced the sandstorm, disarmed a missile, and hit targets with precision. But Blake's sabotage and Hargrove's doubt threaten to undo it all. Jamal steps closer, his voice low. "You're better than they think, ma'am. Keep going." Aisha nods, her resolve hardening. The AI's hack is a maze, but she's navigated worse. Her father taught her to find the weak point, to turn chaos into order. She dives back into the code, the console's glow reflecting her determination. Blake's sneer, Hargrove's skepticism, the ghost of her father's crash. They're all there, but so is Elena's faith, Jamal's trust, and the ink on her wrist. The Reaper's hers to tame, and she's not done fighting. The Nevada control room is a pressure cooker, the air electric with the shriek of alarms and the flicker of screens. The MQ-9 Reaper drone, a $20 million Predator with Hellfire missiles, is now a rogue beast, its hacked AI driving it toward a civilian town just 10 minutes away. Aisha Coleman's fingers grip the console, her eagle tattoo soar above, a quiet pulse beneath her sleeve. She's battled sandstorms, disarmed missiles, and outsmarted sabotaged code. But this is different. This is real. The town's lights loom larger on the Reaper's feed, a cluster of homes where 2,000 people sleep, unaware of the death circling above. Colonel Hargrove's voice cuts through the chaos. "Coleman, you've got 10 minutes to land that drone. No excuses." His tone is a blade, sharp with doubt, and Aisha feels it slice into her resolve. Lieutenant Blake steps forward, his sneer a weapon of its own. "She's unfit for this, sir," he says, loud enough for the room to hear. "This is a job for a real pilot, not a diversity pick." The words land like a gut punch, echoing the whispers that have haunted Aisha since she stepped onto this base. Quota higher. Not good enough. Her mind spirals to her father, Captain Marcus Coleman, whose F-16 crashed 3 years ago, blamed on human error. She'd spent nights poring over his flight logs, finding a glitch no one else saw, a system failure dismissed because he was just another black pilot. Now, with the Reaper's AI shifting its encryption like a living maze, Aisha feels the same shadow. If she fails, she'll prove Blake right, cement the biases that buried her father's truth. Her hands tremble, the console's glow blurring as doubt creeps in. She's close to breaking. The screen flashes, encryption protocol updated, access denied. The AI's hack is evolving, blocking her every move. Aisha's eyes dart to the data stream, the AES-256 encryption, a fortress she must breach. She needs to rewrite the drone's command core, a task that would stump most engineers with twice her experience. The clock ticks, 9 minutes left. Blake's voice stabs again. "She's choking, sir. Pull her before she kills someone." The room's murmurs swell, a chorus of skepticism. Aisha's breath catches, her father's crash replaying in her mind, the jet spiraling, the report that lied, the grief that never faded. She sees his face, hears his voice from their garage days. When everything falls apart, Aisha, you must stand firm. Her fingers brush the worn letter in her pocket, its words a heartbeat. Soar above. Major Elena Ruiz moves closer, her scar catching the light as she slides Aisha a tablet with real-time AI diagnostics. You're smarter than that machine, Coleman, she whispers. Don't let their noise drown you out. Elena's been here. Doubted, dismissed, a Latina woman who fought for her place. Her faith is a lifeline, but it's Hassi Jamal who tips the scale. The young black soldier, quiet until now, steps up, his voice steady. You got this, ma'am. I've seen what you can do. His trust, raw and unpolished, cuts through Aisha's fear. She glances at her tattoo, its ink of fire igniting her resolve. The Reaper's feed shows the town's edge, schools, homes, lives hanging in the balance. 8 minutes left. Aisha dives into the code, her fingers a blur as she traces the AI's shifting encryption. It's like chasing a ghost, each layer locking her out faster than she can crack it. But her father taught her to find the weak point, to turn chaos into order. She spots a pattern, a subtle flaw in the AI's update cycle, a window to inject a command. Her mind flashes to that garage, her father's hands guiding hers over a stubborn program. Patience, Aisha. The solution's always there. She types furiously, crafting a bypass to seize the drone's navigation. The screen flickers, partial access restored. The Reaper wobbles, responding to her command for a fleeting moment before the AI fights back, its code twisting like a snake. 7 minutes to impact. Blake's voice rises, venomous. She's losing it, sir. We need a real pilot. Hargrove's eyes narrow, his hand hovering over the override switch. Aisha's pulse spikes, but Elena's nod and Jamal's quiet faith anchor her. She sees her father's smile, hears his words. Stand firm. The console beeps, the town's lights now a stark glow on the horizon. Aisha's fingers move with surgical precision, rewriting the AI's core loop. The Reaper's altitude dips, she's gaining ground. But the AI counters, locking her out again. 6 minutes left. The room's tension is a living thing. Blake's smirk a shadow, Hargrove's doubt a weight. Aisha's tattoo burns under her sleeve, her father's letter a steady pulse in her pocket. This is her battle, against the drone, against the biases, against the ghost of a failure that wasn't hers. She's not breaking, not now. The Nevada control room is a crucible, the air thick with the scream of alarms and the glare of screens tracking the rogue MQ-9 Reaper drone. Its shadow looms over the desert, 3 minutes from a civilian town, Hellfire missiles primed to unleash hell. Aisha Coleman's fingers are a blur on the console, her eagle tattoo, Soar Above, a burning pulse under her sleeve. She's fought sandstorms, disarmed missiles, and outwitted sabotage, but this is the moment that defines her. The Reaper's AI, a malevolent force of shifting code, locks her out with every move. The town's lights glow brighter on the feed, homes, schools, 2,000 lives hanging by a thread. Colonel Hargrove's voice thunders, Coleman, land that drone now, or it's over. His doubt is a weight, but Aisha's focus is unbreakable. Her father's words a steady drumbeat. Stand firm. Lieutenant Blake's sneer cuts through the chaos. She's done, sir. She's no match for that AI. His words are venom, echoing the biases that have shadowed Aisha since she stepped onto this base. Quota higher. Not enough. Her mind flashes to her father, Captain Marcus Coleman, whose F-16 crashed 3 years ago, blamed on human error. She'd traced the glitch in his flight logs, a system failure no one believed because he was a black pilot. Now, the Reaper's hack mirrors that same pattern, a deliberate signature, not a random flaw. Her breath catches as she spots it in the code, a hidden marker, identical to the one in her father's crash. This isn't just a hack, it's a conspiracy, buried deep in the military systems. The realization hits like a shockwave, but there's no time to dwell. 2 minutes to impact. The screen screams, missile arming sequence reinitiated. The Reaper's AI, fighting like a cornered beast, activates its Hellfire missiles again. Aisha's heart pounds, but her hands are steady, diving into the code's labyrinth. The AI's encryption shifts every 10 seconds, a fortress of AES-256 designed to thwart intrusion. She needs to rewrite the drone's core command loop to force a landing, a task that would break most engineers. Her fingers tremble, not from fear, but from the weight of what's at stake. She recalls her father in their garage, his voice calm as they debugged a stubborn program. You're smarter than the machine, Aisha, he'd said. Find its heart. She'd taught herself a trick then, a self-crafted algorithm to bypass locked systems, born from late nights and her father's lessons. Now it's her only shot. Aisha types furiously, her algorithm slicing through the AI's defenses. The console beeps, access granted. She reroutes the drone's navigation, commanding it to descend. The Reaper fights back, its AI twisting the code to regain control. The feed shows the town's edge, 500 meters away, a school's silhouette stark against the night. 1 minute left. Blake's voice rises, vicious. She's crashing it, sir. Pull her now. Hargrove's hand hovers over the override switch, his eyes locked on Aisha. Major Elena Ruiz steps forward, her scar glinting. Trust her, sir, she says, her voice a quiet blade. Hassi Jamal, the young black soldier, nods from the sidelines, his faith unwavering. Aisha's eyes flicker to her tattoo, her father's letter in her pocket a steady pulse, Soar Above. She spots the AI's final weakness, a flaw in its update cycle, a split-second window to lock the command. Her algorithm surges, rewriting the Reaper's core. The screen flashes, navigation override complete. The drone dips, its engines slowing, but the AI triggers one last missile arming sequence. Aisha's fingers fly, disabling the launch with a single command. The console beeps, missile deactivated, landing sequence initiated. The Reaper descends, touching down 500 meters from the town, its shadow still against the desert sand. The control room erupts in applause, engineers cheering, Jamal grinning wide. Elena's nod is proud, her eyes shining. Aisha exhales, her hands slick with sweat, her tattoo a quiet fire. She's done it, saved lives, tamed the beast. But Hargrove's voice cuts through the celebration, cold and unyielding. I want every line of that code reviewed, Coleman. No mistakes. The room quiets, the applause faltering. Blake smirks, his eyes gleaming with malice. Aisha's stomach twists, the victory bittersweet. She saved the town, but their doubt lingers, a shadow as persistent as the hack. Her mind races to the code's hidden marker, the link to her father's crash. It's no coincidence. Someone wanted this drone to fail, just like they wanted her father to take the blame. She glances at Elena, who gives a subtle nod, signaling, keep going. Jamal steps closer, his voice low. You're a hero, ma'am. They'll see it. Aisha's fingers brush her father's letter, its words a lifeline. Find the solution. The Reaper's grounded, but the fight's not over. The truth about her father, about the hack, lies buried in the code. And Aisha's ready to dig. The Nevada control room hums with a rare stillness. The alarm's silenced, the MQ-9 Reaper drone now a quiet shadow on the desert sand, grounded 500 meters from the civilian town it nearly destroyed. Aisha Coleman leans back in the command chair, her hands trembling, not from fear, but from the weight of what she's done. The console's glow fades, its screens showing the Reaper's engines powered down, Hellfire missiles disarmed. She saved 2,000 lives, tamed a $20 million war machine that defied the best engineers. Her eagle tattoo, Soar Above, burns under her sleeve, a quiet fire mirroring the pride in her chest. The room erupts in applause, engineers cheering, their skepticism replaced by awe. Hassi Jamal, the young black soldier who believed in her, grins wide, his eyes shining. You did it, ma'am, he says, voice thick with admiration. Major Elena Ruiz, her scar catching the light, gives Aisha a nod, her smile fierce. Told you, Coleman, you're smarter than that machine. But Colonel Hargrove's voice slices through the celebration, cold as the desert night. Good work, Coleman, but I need every line of that code reviewed. We don't celebrate until it's verified. The applause falters, the room's energy dimming. Lieutenant Blake's smirk lingers, his silence louder than his earlier taunts. Aisha's victory feels fragile, the weight of their doubt still pressing. She clutches the worn letter in her pocket, her father's words. Soar above, Aisha. You're enough, a steady pulse against the sting of Hargrove's distrust. She's proven herself, but not to them. Not yet. Aisha's eyes drift to the console, where diagnostic logs from the Reaper's hack still linger. She scrolls through the code, her fingers guided by instinct, and freezes. There it is again. The hidden marker. The same digital signature she found in her father's F-16 crash logs 3 years ago. It's no glitch. It's deliberate. A thread tying this hack to the system failure that killed Captain Marcus Coleman. The data confirms what she's long suspected. Her father's crash wasn't his fault. It was sabotage, buried by a system that dismissed him as just another pilot. Her breath catches, a wave of relief and rage washing over her. She's carried his letter, his lessons, his loss for years, fighting to prove he was more. Now she has proof, a truth that could rewrite his legacy and hers. Elena steps closer, sensing Aisha's shift. "What is it?" she whispers. Aisha's voice is low, steady. "It's my father, this hack. It's connected to him." Jamal overhears, his eyes widening, but he stays silent, his trust unwavering. Aisha's fingers tighten around the letter, its edges soft from years of carrying it. She sees her father's face in their garage, his hands guiding hers over code, his voice calm. "You'll soar above them all." She's fulfilled that promise today, saving lives where he couldn't. The tattoo on her wrist feels alive, a vow kept. But Hargrove's demand for a review, Blake's lingering smirk, remind her the fight isn't over. The truth about her father lies in the code, and Aisha's ready to chase it, no matter what it costs. The Nevada control room, once alive with the chaos of alarms, now hums with a tense quiet. The MQ-9 Reaper drone safely grounded 500 meters from the civilian town it nearly obliterated. Aisha Coleman sits at the console, her fingers still, her eagle tattoo soar above, a quiet flame under her sleeve. She saved 2,000 lives, uncovered a link between the drone's hack and her father's fatal crash, but the victory feels hollow. Colonel Hargrove's demand for a code review lingers, his distrust a shadow over her triumph. The room's applause has faded, replaced by murmurs of procedure and protocol. Aisha clutches her father's letter in her pocket. Its words, "You're enough," a steady pulse against the doubt that still clings to her. She's proven herself, but the fight isn't over. A new storm brews as Lieutenant Blake steps forward, his smirk sharper than ever. "I need to come clean, sir," he says to Hargrove, his voice laced with false sincerity. "Coleman's last test? The navigation error? I slipped a line of code to throw her off. She was never gonna cut it." The room freezes, engineers exchanging stunned glances. Aisha's blood runs cold. Blake's sabotage, the glitch that cost her a reprimand, was deliberate, a calculated move to make her fail. Hargrove's eyes narrow, but not at Blake. "Coleman, you knew about this and didn't report it?" he demands. "That's lack of transparency. I'm considering suspension." The words hit like a slap, twisting Aisha's victory into a trap. Suspension could end her career, bury her father's truth with it. Her mind churns, torn between confronting Blake and staying silent to preserve unit unity. Exposing him could fracture the team, fuel the whispers that she's a troublemaker, not a soldier. But accepting punishment means letting his lies win, letting the system that dismissed her father's crash as human error do the same to her. She sees Captain Marcus Coleman's face, his steady hands guiding hers over code in their garage. "Truth matters, Aisha," he'd said, "even when it's hard." Her fingers tighten around his letter, its worn edges a reminder of the promise she's kept. Soar above. But soaring now means risking everything. Her place, her future, the fragile respect she's earned. Major Elena Ruiz steps forward, her scar catching the dim light. "Sir, Coleman's code was flawless," she says, her voice cutting through the tension. "Blake's sabotage caused the error, not her. She saved that town despite him." Hassi Jamal, the young black soldier who's watched Aisha's every move, nods fiercely. "I saw her logs, sir," he says, voice steady. "She's the real deal. Blake's the one who messed up." Their words are a lifeline, pulling Aisha from the edge. The room shifts, eyes turning to Blake, his smirk faltering. Hargrove's jaw tightens, his skepticism wavering. "I'll need those logs, Ruiz," he says, but his tone softens, a crack in his armor. Aisha's heart pounds, her father's voice echoing. "Find the solution." She pulls the letter from her pocket, unfolding it briefly, its words a quiet fire. "You're enough." Blake's confession has sparked an internal investigation, but Aisha knows it's not enough. The hidden marker in the drone's hack, the same one in her father's crash, points to a deeper conspiracy. She meets Elena's eyes, a silent agreement passing between them. This fight goes beyond the room, beyond Blake. Jamal's trust, Elena's faith, her father's letter, they anchor her. Aisha's not just fighting for her place now, she's fighting for the truth, for her father, for every soldier dismissed by a system that sees them as less. The investigation looms, but so does her resolve. She's ready to soar, no matter the cost. The Nevada control room is a battlefield of silence, the air heavy with anticipation as the internal investigation unfolds. Aisha Coleman stands before Colonel Hargrove, her eagle tattoo, soar above, a quiet fire beneath her sleeve. The MQ-9 Reaper drone, once a rogue threat, lies grounded, It's hack defeated, but the real fight is here. Lieutenant Blake's confession of sabotage, slipping code to make her fail, has sparked a probe, but Hargrove's threat of suspension for lack of transparency still looms. Aisha's heart pounds, her father's letter in her pocket a steady pulse. She saved a town, uncovered a link to her father's crash, but now she faces a deeper enemy, a system that buries truth to protect its own. She clutches a tablet loaded with data, her weapon in this final stand. Hargrove's voice is cold, his eyes scanning the room. Coleman, your logs better explain this mess, or you're done. Blake stands nearby, his smirk barely concealed, confident the system will shield him. Aisha steps forward, her voice steady despite the storm inside. Sir, the navigation error wasn't mine. It was sabotage, Blake's, and he wasn't acting alone. The room gasps, engineers exchanging stunned glances. Aisha's tablet glows with evidence. The hidden marker in the Reaper's hack, identical to the one in her father's F-16 crash 3 years ago. She's traced it to a covert group within the base, a clique targeting black soldiers, rigging systems to make them fail. Her analytical skills, honed by late nights with her father's logs, lay bare the truth. Blake's code wasn't just personal, it was part of a pattern that cost her father his life. She projects the data onto the monitors, lines of code mapping a conspiracy. This marker, Aisha says, her voice cutting through the silence, links Blake's sabotage to my father's crash. It's no accident. Hargrove's jaw tightens, his skepticism cracking. Major Elena Ruiz nods from the sidelines, her scar glinting, her faith unwavering. Hassi Jamal, the young black soldier who's believed in Aisha from the start, steps forward. I checked the log, sir, he says. She's right. Blake's smirk vanishes, his eyes darting to the exit. Hargrove studies the data, then speaks, his voice heavy. Coleman, I was wrong. You're cleared. Blake, you're under review. The room exhales, a tide turning. Hargrove continues, you're not just cleared, you're promoted. Lead instructor, electronic warfare. We need you on our drone program. The weight lifts, but Aisha's fight isn't over. She pulls her father's letter from her pocket, its worn edges trembling in her hands. My father, Captain Marcus Coleman, taught me to soar above doubt, she says, her voice steady as she faces the unit. He said, no matter what they say, you're enough. This is for him, and for all of us who've been told we don't belong. She reads his words aloud. Soar above, Aisha. The room is silent, soldiers, black, white, men, women, nodding, some with tears in their eyes. Elena's smile is fierce, Jamal's pride radiant. Aisha's tattoo burns, a vow fulfilled. She's defeated not just the drone's hack, but the prejudice that tried to ground her. The truth about her father, about the system, is out. She's not just a soldier. She's a beacon calling for unity, for justice, for those who dare to rise. The Nevada sun rises over the military base, its light glinting off the grounded MQ-9 Reaper drone, now a silent testament to Aisha Coleman's triumph. The control room, once a crucible of doubt, hums with a new energy. Aisha stands before a gathered unit, soldiers of every rank, race, and gender. Her eagle tattoo, Soar Above, a quiet flame beneath her sleeve. She's no longer the rookie dismissed as a quota hire. She's a hero who saved 2,000 lives, exposed a conspiracy, and reclaimed her father's truth. Colonel Hargrove's apology still echoes. Her new role as lead instructor for electronic warfare, a badge of hard-won respect. But Aisha's fight has always been bigger than herself. She clutches her father's letter, its worn edges a lifeline, its words, you're enough, a vow she's ready to share. She addresses the unit, her voice steady, resonant. My father, Captain Marcus Coleman, taught me that it's not their eyes that define you, but how you respond. She holds up his letter, its ink faded but alive. He said, soar above it all. I stand here because I believed him, and because Major Elena Ruiz and Hassi Jamal believed in me. The room is silent, soldiers nodding, some wiping tears. Aisha's gaze sweeps over them, landing on young faces, black, brown, women, outsiders, who felt the same sting of doubt. I'm starting a training program, she says, for soldiers like us, so your talent, not your background, defines your place. The unit erupts in applause, Jamal's grin wide. Elena's nod proud. Aisha's tattoo burns, a promise kept not just for her father but for every soldier told they're not enough. As the crowd disperses, Aisha stands alone, her fingers tracing the letter in her pocket. The base buzzes with new missions, new drones, new challenges. She's been tasked with leading a cutting-edge drone program, a journey just beginning. She glances at her tattoo, a smile breaking through, calm, resolute, alive with possibility. The desert stretches beyond, vast and unyielding, but Aisha's ready. Her father's words echo, soar above. She's not just a soldier now, she's a beacon, her story a call to rise, to fight, to rewrite the rules. The horizon beckons, and Aisha steps toward it, her eyes fixed on the sky, ready to soar again.